up and somebody would criticise it. I think it's judged about right, and I will defend this privatisation as being a textbook privatisation. I think we've got it as accurate as anybody could have done.
Well, he didn't get the price right. People are willing to pay 37 pence more than he charged them. He got the price very wrong, and as a result lost the taxpayer £350 million in 2 hours trading.
The sell-off of state assets has been profitable for the small investor. Today, a £1 National Power share was worth 137.5 pence. Power Gen's premium was fractionally below, at 37 pence. A stake in the old electricity boards, such as Yorkshire, bought at the end of last year, has doubled already. And people who've paid 170 pence for shares in water companies like Thames, sold off in 1989, have seen them shoot up to more than 300. Electricity privatisation's been dogged by problems from the start, particularly over nuclear power, which remains state-owned. But the sell-off's now complete, and there won't be another privatisation this side of a general election.
And John Wakeham says he won't contest the next general election. A former Treasury Minister and Leader of the House, he was severely injured in the Brighton bomb in 1984. He said today he'll carry on as Energy Secretary until the election. The Director of Public Prosecutions is to be asked to consider manslaughter charges following the death of Mike Carr, who was the Labour MP for Bootle. He died of a heart attack 15 minutes after he was discharged from a Liverpool hospital last July. The inquest jury heard that an ambulance man gave details of Mr. Carr's symptoms to a nurse on arrival at Walton Hospital, but the information was not passed on to the doctor. The inquest has been adjourned until evidence can be examined by the DPP. Britain has expressed considerable concern over the treatment of anti-communist demonstrators by the Yugoslav authorities. The Yugoslav ambassador was summoned to the Foreign Office and warned that Western aid depended on continued progress towards democracy. In Belgrade, the management of the capital's television station bowed to demands from demonstrators and resigned. The leaders of the 6 Yugoslav republics are in emergency session to discuss the crisis.
The students who've been occupying one of Belgrade's main squares since the weekend show no signs of giving up their anti-communist protest. One of their key demands was met today, the resignation of 5 senior members of Belgrade Television. The demonstrators have condemned the station as being a government mouthpiece. And tonight it's been reported that one of the opposition leaders arrested 3 days ago has been released. But the students also want the removal of the Serbian official who ordered the army to break up Saturday's protests. Flowers have been laid at the spot where a 17-year-old student was killed during the violence. The students' numbers have been swelled by thousands of secondary school pupils. Their classes, like much else in Belgrade, cancelled until further notice. The Yugoslav government, in emergency session, appealed for calm and said force should not be used to stop the anti-communist protests in Serbia, the largest of the country's 6 republics. But there's widespread apprehension that the army may be brought back onto the streets.
The main news again. The Prime Minister has told the opposition not to be impatient over the review of the poll tax. He said good progress was being made and the government was on track for an announcement. But Labour has again accused him of indecision. Newsnight is on BBC2 at 10:30, but that's the 9 o'clock news tonight. Good night.
Good evening. The RSPCA has released figures suggesting that cruelty to animals in Yorkshire and Humberside is the worst in the country. A picture of a dog belonging to a Huddersfield family is being used to highlight a new campaign against animal abuse. The dog was found hanging from a tree in a cemetery after being beaten, kicked and burned. Workers and trades union officials from the Leeds firm Vickers travelled to Westminster today to lobby MPs to give the firm the contract to replace the Army's ageing Chieftain tanks with its Challenger 2. They say 10,000 jobs around the country could be under threat if the Ministry of Defence delays its decision. Vickers is facing competition from a number of foreign firms for the contract. Sonia Sutcliffe, the wife of the Yorkshire Ripper, has been questioned by police today over an allegation of perjury. She went voluntarily to a police station in London after Scotland Yard was asked by the Crown Prosecution Service to investigate a complaint by private eye. The The magazine says Mrs Sutcliffe gave conflicting evidence during 2 libel actions. The mother of a Hull man who died trying to save others during the Piper Alpha disaster has been to Buckingham Palace to receive the George Medal for him. The medal was awarded posthumously to Brian Batchelor for his bravery in the rescue operation. Today his mother, Phoebe Drew, spoke of her pride.
Quite pleased. He said it was a well-deserved medal.
How do you think Brian would be feeling?
The same as me, proud.
A quick look at the latest scores in tonight's Barclays League football matches. In Division 2, Hull City 1, Watford 1. In Division 3, Chester City 4, Bradford City 2. Mansfield 4, Bolton 0. Rotherham 1, Grimsby Town 4. And in Division 4, Blackpool 3, Scarborough 1, Scunthorpe 1, Walsall 0, Wrexham 1, Halifax 2 and York City 0, Chesterfield 2. That's it from me, but don't forget your BBC local radio station is on the air until midnight. Good night.
Good evening to you. 63 degrees Fahrenheit today in the Channel Islands and not very far away in the West Country, nearly an inch of rain. And that gives us a hint, I think, of what's going to happen in the near future. It's going to remain mild, but pretty changeable with further rain from time to time. Today's rain was due to that wriggling frontal system and the high temperatures because of those southerly winds. Now, there's a lot of cloud around, as you can see on the satellite picture, but if we zoom in a little bit closer, you can actually see that across the southeastern corner of the country, through Kent and Sussex, for instance, skies are already clearing, and that clearer weather is going to head a little bit further northwards, so that gives us an optimistic note for the southeast during the course of tomorrow. But there's a fair bit of rain around in the west at the moment, 1 or 2 heavier bursts, and that is heading off northwards. So it's going to be a cloudy, misty, murky night in many parts of the country. There will be some fog around as well, more particularly in the southeastern corner as those skies continue to clear, but some lapping onto the east coast there, through the Irish Sea and around into the Western English Channel. And with all this cloud, there is going to be some further outbreaks of rain, much of it light, but some heavier rain working its way up towards Scotland during the course of the night. A very mild night just about everywhere. Tomorrow the chart virtually the same, so there's going to be a good deal of cloud around tomorrow with further outbreaks of rain, much of it fairly light, but in the southeastern corner you'll have some sunshine and the brighter weather heading further north and west as the day wears on. Although if it does brighten up in Wales and the southwest, it'll probably cloud over with a few spots of rain later on. But for the south and east of Scotland, northern England, further rain throughout the day, but in western Scotland and Northern Ireland, ending up brighter and drier. Now a mild day everywhere, particularly so in the brighter southeast, up again to 16 degrees in places, which is 61 Fahrenheit. But as I said at the beginning, it is a changeable picture. Going to keep the winds, or eventually get the winds into the southwest, bringing in more frontal systems. For Thursday, though, not too bad a day. A little bit of rain to begin with in the east, then late on in the day, some windy and wet weather coming in across Ireland, and that's going to sweep across most parts of the country during the course of Friday, with brighter, showery weather following along behind.
Cigarettes are persistently promoted in pursuit of profit. Yet, once every 13 seconds, someone dies through smoking.
On National No Smoking Day, QED presents a powerful film which shows the effect of smoke on the respiratory system. And here's the moving testimonies of those who are unable to give up their addictive habit.
I've been on my own, and I've wanted to do a little job, and I couldn't do it. I've just stood in the middle of the floor and cried to die.
That's QED, tomorrow at 9:30 on BBC1.
In half an hour tonight here on BBC1, there's a new drama by the acclaimed playwright John Godber. Sean Bean and Sheila Hancock star in a wry picture of stunted emotions and civil war games, My Kingdom for a Horse. First, there's vintage comedy in imperial measurements with Ronnie Barker and David Jason. Open all hours.